message that is going all around the world right now. That is going it's going off like a frog in a sock.
Alrighty, you mob, welcome back to another episode of Pete vs. Plants. In today's episode, I give you a look at what's going on in my grow rooms, show you a few new leaves and some other things. Then we go for a bit of a cruise down to the Bunnings in Waurn Ponds and then Torquay and have a look for some large cacti, some grafting stock that I need, some columnar cacti, and I may also show you some of the plants there that include aroids, so keep your eye out for that. Anyway, let's get into the episode. Peaches, I have had way too much caffeine, I tell you what. Anyway guys, how's it going? Welcome to this episode of Pete vs. Plants. So, as I told you guys recently, I have really gotten into cacti, and I'll come into my little office here. We'll turn on my, it's already on, never turned it off. But we have a whole bunch of cacti that are on graft, and I really want to try doing this. So, this is where you take a cactus, usually a columnar cactus? I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a cactus that grows in a column. Who'd have guessed it? And you chop the top off it, take another cactus that you want to grow really fast. We call that the scion. When you put it on top, slice the bottom off it and chuck it on top. And then you're away to the races with getting that cactus to grow faster. Here's another one. This is an Astrophytum asterius hybrid. So you can see the bottom cactus, column cactus, top one is an Astrophytum. So yeah. Anyway, so I'm wanting to try that. And I need to stock up on a bunch of columnar cacti. I really hope I'm saying that right. And they're hard to find, guys. They're hard to find. I keep going around to places like Bunnings, and they've got all these really large ones, at least large for what I'm used to, which is like, you know, maybe a foot tall, but they're like $50 each. So I'm like, no chance. So anyway, I've been buying up some of the smaller ones and hoping that they will grow out. And I'm trying to see, where have I got one that I can show you? So this is a Pelasgia chichipe. Hopefully I'm saying that right. But these are columnar cacti that you can use. The only thing is these spines are a little bit long, so they may make handling a little less enjoyable. Anyway, so I think we're going to go off to the Bunnings in Waurn Ponds and maybe North Geelong, maybe even Torquay if we really want to go on an adventure. And we'll see what they've got. I bought those this morning from the Bunnings locally in Leopold. And besides that, maybe, do you guys want to see a few new leaves? Everyone wants to see leaves, right? All right, so new leaf number one. This is my chimeric variegated Thai Constellation. I did a video on this a while back, but it's effectively got really high, I think almost creme brulee-esque variegation, and it's kind of like half mooning. So you'll see half the leaf has the really high variegation and half the leaf has the really low variegation, and there's a new leaf coming out here, and you'll see if you look closely at the stem here, it's happening again. So on this side you've got the high variegation, you can see all those lines, and on this side you've got the low variegation. So when I open this up gently, you'll see high variegation on this side, low variegation on this side. So here is a version, pure version of the low variegation, and this is a pure version of the high variegation. And that's even, that variegation there is lower, I would think, than this stuff. Like this is really close to creme brulee, if not creme brulee. So I'm interested to see how this leaf looks. The plan with this one is that if it ends up reverting and only going to the low variegation one, which is what I was afraid of with this leaf, I was like, oh, it's getting less and less, right? This is a half moon, this is a sort of quarter moon. And I was like, oh, if this leaf comes out and it's 100% this, the good thing, because it's half mooning, that should mean that on one side of the plant here, whether it's the left side or the right side, the axillary buds will be on the highly, highly variegated side of the plant. So if I take cuttings from this in the future, I'll have to make sure that I take cuttings where the highest, most axillary bud is this one, the one that is going to pump out this stuff. Otherwise, I'll end up with all the nodes activating on the low variegation side, but we'll see. I would love for it to end up reverting to the high variegation side, but we'll see what happens. For now, it's just doing this, and you can see half moon, 3/4 moon, half moon, well, 3/4 moon thingy, half moon, 3/4 moon. So it seems to be sort of stable, but we'll see. So there's that. There's an update here. So this is the Thai Constellation that I took cuttings off and sold. You'll remember that we chopped up a bunch of these nodes down here. Now, I thought that this front leaf, I had missed the axillary bud. I chopped it off. But it turns out, guys, it's in there. And she's activated. She just took forever. So the little dew claw, whatever it's called, is popping out. And we have the other ones that have all activated. So we have a new leaf here, a new leaf here, a new leaf here, and I think a whole bunch coming out of the base as well. These ones activated but paused, and this one seems to be still pushing out stuff, but I'm not sure. So I guess we'll see how that goes. I may chop up the base of this further to get more leaves coming out, but to be honest, the prices of Thai Constellations are plummeting, so I don't know if there is a huge market for these guys any longer. With my mint variegated one that I also had, you can sort of just see the mint variegation. It's kind of brightest when the plant has just sent out a new leaf, but we chopped this, and at least two nodes activated. I think it was like 7 or something, but 2 at least have sort of become dominant, and this is a new leaf, as well as this one here. So that's pretty cool. What else have we got? New leaf here on the elbow. I think this elbow needs a water, but wow, looking beautiful. Looking beautiful. And these ones just grow like wildfire. They're just nuts. Another leaf here on the, just push that over, on one of my aureas. I think this is a small form Monstera deliciosa aurea, and I'm not sure if you can see or not, but I'm pretty sure this is a half moon. I think this half is lighter color than this half, but it's kind of really hard to tell early on. It kind of just keeps getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and the green side just gets darker and darker. Silver sword and the Philodendron Florida. So this one is just a beast. It just keeps pushing out huge leaves now. I've got 3 vines on it, and they're just getting massive, which is just great. Like, look at that. I would love to have the same thing happen with my Florida Ghost, Florida Beauty, and Florida Beauty Albo. Just have them all lined up. That'd be amazing. Same with the silver sword. New leaves coming out all over the place. I think there's one here, one here, one here, and they're sizing up quickly as well. You'll see the one at the back there. I think this might be the biggest leaf so far, but I really want to get a massive, massive, massive silver sword happening. And I think these poles are going to need to be extended pretty soon. In fact, the node here is just, it's going to grow a little higher, and it'll need an extension. Besides that, bit of sad story here where I keep jamming this stupid leaf into the door here. It keeps tricking me, guys. It keeps tricking me. So I think when it gets lots of light, the leaf kind of lifts up, and so during the day I keep seeing it up here like this, and a few times at night it dips down like this, and there's a circular magnet, I think, in here that I keep accidentally shutting on the leaf, and yeah, it's not good. It's not good, but that's my UPI up here. It's getting pretty big. And then Philodendron 69686 is doing really well as well. It is growing fast, guys. It put out this leaf, I feel like maybe a month ago, and it's just shot out this one, which is hardening off now too. And it is just sizing up fast, considering that it's just sitting in a pot here, and I don't even think I have a stake in there, but I've air layered it. New leaf on the whip away. These are so freaking beautiful, guys, when they come out. They come out a bright red initially, and then the fronts kind of yellow off, and the backs sort of stay red like this, and then I think they kind of, they go green eventually. So the whip away is loving life. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the anthurium cabinet, which I probably need to save for another day. Yeah, let's go down into the office, and I'll just quickly see if I've got some fun stuff to show you here too. Oh yeah, baby. Okay. So these are my Florida albos, right? So Philodendron Floridas. This is a standard one where you get the yellow variegation. Although this stuff is melting off, annoyingly, which is why it's been snipped. I think it is because I had sent this to a shop nearby to sell on my behalf, and they had put it under a glass cabinet where there was no sort of supplementary light, and I have a feeling that the plant just shat itself, not getting enough light. But it is sending out a new leaf, which looks gorgeous. Anyway, so that's the normal one. These are the albos, where you get this kind of like white ghost variegation, right? So it sort of like fades off and starts ghosting a little bit, going kind of green. You'll see here, and I think it's heat related. This kind of variegation that like ghosts off, I think it goes greener like this. So this is an older leaf. It goes greener like this with extra heat. And you'll notice some of it here as well. Whereas this is a very old leaf, and you'll see how albo that is, right? It's a half moon, beautiful. Same thing here, old leaf, newer leaf, going green. Newest leaf, it hasn't even hardened off, and the white variegated sections look like they are going green as well. The reason I say that is because you'll see that I have a Florida ghost in here, right? These leaves came out in winter, or at least maybe spring, where it was colder, right? And they were in a different room that wasn't as warm. This one typically gets up to like 30 degrees Celsius, even on a day like today where it's 20 outside. So they come up white, and they stay white for ages and ages and ages. Anyway, I moved them into this room, and the new leaves come out looking like this. And I'm just like, what the hell? You know, so again, like, here you go, this older leaf at the back, whiter, slowly going green. Sorry about the flashing. Newer leaf, way greener. So, actually, those are two different plants, so I am smoking something. But, yeah, it's interesting. I think added heat, if you can keep your Floridas hotter, at least the ghosts, and potentially the albos, the albo Florida beauties, you'll get greener leaves like this. So if you don't want that, reduce the temperatures, keep it cooler, and they should come out looking like this, although they tend to drop these leaves, I found. See, here's an even older one below, and you'll see it's probably like 4 nodes down, because we lost a few of these leaves too, and none of them ended up turning green like this at all, and they just died. And I was like, what is going on? So initially I thought it was a watering problem, but I think it might be a heat problem. All right, last one that I wanted to show you. So I've had this on Instagram recently. This is an esqueleto, right? A Monstera esqueleto. The leaves get absolutely massive. I bought this and it was growing horizontally, so it instantly shot out a runner. I let it grow for quite a while, but it kept growing horizontally and wasn't shooting out leaves, just kept shooting out these blank nodes. So anyway, when I moved it into this room, I decided to get it going vertical, taping it to the side of the thing here, shelving unit. And I think I taped it at about this point, and it just kept growing. It pushed out a few more nodes, and most recently it's done that. So if you want things to stop being runners, I think the biggest thing is to just get it growing vertical, and I think it has something to do with gravity and the hormonal balance within the plant. I think auxins and cytokinins, I think that's right, travel using gravity, whether they travel up or down, and that's sort of related to them deciding to push out leaves or not. So yeah, it's really interesting that I have this plant down here. I have about 1.5 meters of runner, and then I have this large leaf coming out here that looks beautiful. Oh man, and we can't forget, so I bought these two Thai Constellations. It probably doesn't look like it, but yeah, these are Thai Constellations. I bought these two as highly variegated, just normal Thai Constellations, but I am pretty sure they're going to both be creme brulees, at least I'm hoping. But my god, they are slow growers because of the amount of variegation on them. Anyway, so they are really slow, but they're pushing out new leaves. This one's pushing out one. This one, it pushed out a while ago, and it just, oh my god, it looks beautiful. I can't wait for this to get big. And this one has been such a slow grower, but I think the newest leaf is this little one here. But yeah, I'm really hoping that this one holds on and survives and gets big, because yeah, these are two that if I can get cuttings from these and sell these in Australia, I don't see any creme brulees for sale anywhere. So I'm sure these would be Thai Constellations, which will have held on to their price and go for a pretty penny. Oh, lastly, there's a few things over here. This is my Philodendron corsinianum, I believe that's how you say it. Absolutely stunning. They're like El Choco Reds when they come out and have, there's just these insane red abaxials, right? The backs to the leaves. They are just absolutely stunning, and they sort of just have these massive leaves that sort of hang down like a, I don't know, kind of like a quilty pillow. Just beautiful. It's believed to be one of the earliest hybrids of a philodendron from the 1800s that was done back in, I think back in London somewhere, where they may have crossed verrucosum with something else. No one really knows for sure. They'll have to do the genetic work on it. And then I've got a new leaf here on this elbow. This is another beautiful one. And then, if I don't trip over everything here, it's really funny. I took some cuttings from some Florida beauties and I'm trying out the little bubbler here. Seems to be working well. This one has come off its little thing here. This is the only pain in the ass part of it. Pushing this stupid thing back onto the pump. But you'll see it's working now, and you'll see these roots are just going bananas. So that's great. There are some Brazilian form deliciosas in here, a bunch of Thais, and these are some reverted albos that I'm trying to see if the nodes activate and actually pump out variegation. And then over here we've got some esqueleto cuttings, Amazonas, so Monstera Amazonas, the obliqua Amazonas, and then some more of the yellow form Florida beauties. And it's really funny, I put these two cuttings in here. I think they each had a leaf sort of about this size, but each of these two, the leaves browned off and fell off, but then they pumped out new leaves. And I put a bit of fertilizer in here because I saw that they were kind of still growing, so I thought it was probably important, they'll need that nutrients. And I found that if you use the bubbler, it actually keeps quite a lot of the algae out of there. I've only replaced the water in here once, I think, over the last month or more. So yeah, they seem to be doing well, but rooting pretty slowly. Should also mention, fucking obliqua, bane of my existence. Even though these guys were growing beautifully vertically, sends out a runner. Sends out a huge runner. In fact, sends out a second runner from the single node here. I guess it just activated maybe another part, I don't know. But there's two runners coming out, and then it activated a node or two down here as well, so it's sending out new leaves. There's a new leaf here and there's a new leaf here, so obliqua is a weird grower, tell you what. Okay, anyway, I've talked your face off. I might just shut the doors so that, God forbid, my cat gets into any of these rooms and decides to use the moss poles as scratch posts. And whoop, I almost slipped over, got socks on. I guess we'll get moving and see if we can find some of these columnar cacti that I can use as grafting stock. Alrighty guys, we are here, and what a sweet parking spot right near the entrance. So let's go inside and see what they got. So the Aroid lover in me is keen to see these Atabapoens and these Biliatiers. You can see the orange petioles on these guys are really bright this time, so they are stunning. And then we have ring of fires in here too that I'm sort of keen to see more of. Hopefully there's some beautiful ones in there. My one is awful looking. So we got some of these beautiful Alocasia mitchellitzianas that have come in, and they also have some really large Zabrinas, which is really cool to see. And some Philodendron redwings. I haven't really seen this one before. But what's really cool is some of them seem to have this patterning on them that's really interesting. Look at that. I don't know if that's variegation or what, but it's pretty cool. So here's what we're looking at. I'm interested to look at this one with blocky variegation, and I really want to find a highly variegated one like that, or even like this. That looks amazing. So check those out. Okay, so that went differently from expected. I did find 4 cacti that are columnar cacti that I'll be able to use as grafting stock. But I also may have grabbed 3 ring of fire. Hear me out, hear me out. What I'm gonna do is put 2 of these up on eBay and set the reserve at the price that they cost me and see if they go. Perhaps people elsewhere in Australia are interested in purchasing these for slightly more than I paid. And I might keep 1 for myself. And yeah, hope that the 2 that I sell pay off the 1 that I kept, if that makes sense. But I'll probably try and do that tonight and see if I give it 6 days or something as an auction on eBay. And who knows, I might be able to keep you updated in this video with how that goes, depending on when I edit this. Anyway, now let's go to Torquay and have a look there. Okay, so we're now at Torquay's Bunnings, and I haven't been here in a while, so I'm hoping that they have a few different things. I have found the odd different thing down here. I think I found some like Philodendron subhastatum down here, the ones with the really bright backs of the leaves that are red. And I hadn't seen them anywhere else, and they were like $5. They were super cheap. So anyway, we'll go out and have a look, see what they've got, and yeah, hopefully we get a bit of variety. It paid off, guys. We've got some interesting stuff here. Let me give you a look. Okay, so man, we got loads of interesting Euphorbia, like the horror here. And this guy at the back here, I forgot what he's called, but it's a Euphorbia as well. I think? I'm not sure, maybe not. Something else, something completely different. Euphorbia pulmonata, I have these guys already. And what else have we got? Stuff gets interesting down here. The Euphorbia ferox, that's really cool. Another one of these guys, an interesting aloe, rather. This one is a Pachypodium porumbenz. I got one of those. Look at this, the Brain Cactus, that's cresting. This is the normal form, I think, in that it crests. And then I do not know what this is, but I totally want it. The Adromiscus. Beautiful. I think this is an old man cactus. Another interesting, this is the spiraling aloe, Jesus. Ooh, this one's cool. And then this thing, whoa, Kalanchoe. What is the deal here? And I think we have got one of these guys at home. They're cute. Another one of these azure cactus is a blue torch, and some more. Oh no, this is the blue torch. This guy is something else, but I've forgotten. But yeah, we got a bunch of the columnar ones as well. Spore dude's looking not too crash hot. But as you can see, it's one of the smaller Bunnings in terms of plant offerings here. Yeah, we have lashed out a few things. So here you go, some of the golden violin. We've got Anthurium genmanii, some of the dwarf ZZ plants, variegated peperomias here, some of the allocations. It's always good checking these. If you get variegated ones, they're worth a mint. Silver sword that's looking a bit shabby. And then this really brightly coloured golden dragon, I think. Or is it golden pothos? Devil's ivy, you know what I mean. Heaps of stuff. Okay, so we're all done. The haul's back here. Now it's time to hit the road. We'll go home and we'll debrief. Alright guys, so we're home, but I may have gotten a little bit distracted by these fun lords. So I might deal with them and then we'll do a little breakdown. Hey Noah, thumbs up? Noah? Joinha? Alrighty guys, so I'm starting to lose my voice. Still recovering from a cold, so hopefully it holds out. But it's been a bit of a blowout today. We have a tidy little haul here. We've got a whole bunch of cacti that I'm going to be able to use, hopefully for grafting stock. We'll see how they go. We have some other cactus and succulents that have either been on my wish list or are just interesting as hell, so I grabbed those. And we also have these 3 Ring of Fire, variegated Ring of Fires. So I'll show you the Ring of Fires first, then we'll go through the cacti. I've sort of positioned stealthily the receipt here on top of the cacti just so that it wasn't damaging the leaves. Peaches, do you want to sit up here, mate? Here you go. Come on, up you come. Peaches, puss, puss. Come on. Good stuff, mate. Up here. Wait. There you go. Good job, Peach. Here, high five. Boom. Okay, so we'll have a look at the Ring of Fires first. I tried to grab the 3 that I thought were the most attractive. So a bunch of these had this blocky kind of variegation appearing down on the leaves, at least down there for this one. And I'm not sure if this is double planted. I think it might be. It's hard to tell. There may be a second plant under here, a little one. But these reach about 50 bucks, 48.56, and new leaf coming out on this one. Absolutely beautiful specimens. So we got 1, 2, another one. This one doesn't have as much of the blocky variegation. It sort of does, but it's not double layered, so you don't get that sort of really white variegation. And I find the variegation of these guys are very similar to Thai Constellations. It's kind of those same layers. So sometimes you end up with blocky variegation like this, that white solid or creamy, yellowy kind of solid variegation. Other times you have these sort of blocks that are over the top of a layer of chlorophyll, and then you also have this speckling. But this is another one that has very, very nice blocky variegation on it. So yeah, the plan was to grab these 3, sell 2 of them on eBay. I'm just going to auction them off. I'll probably start at $0. I'm not really sure. I'm still sort of learning how to use eBay and the best sort of approach to it. And I should add, I used to kind of have a bad taste in my mouth when seeing people selling things from, I don't know, Bunnings or other nurseries where you knew that they'd picked them up there at a better price than they were for sale online. But then I caught myself a few times knowing that was the case, but still being willing to lash out because my local stores or nurseries or Bunnings or whatever didn't have those plants and I wanted them. A good example would be my reticulated zebrina. So I have an Alocasia zebrina reticulata. I think I paid probably 3 times as much as that plant was actually worth, just because I really wanted it. And I was glad to because it was on eBay. The other thing was an Aglionema pictum tricolor. Again, probably paid 3 times as much. Maybe I'm just rationalizing it. You guys will have to let me know. Is it sort of dodgy to kind of flip plants like this? But the goal, I guess, of getting these 3 and flipping 2 of them will be to cover the cost of the first. So I'm expecting these may go for about 75 each for the 2, maybe more, maybe less. I might end up losing money. It's all worth trying and just seeing. But if they go for 75 each or more, then they will have covered the price of whichever one it is that I end up keeping. I think I may end up keeping this one because that new leaf, that just looks stunning. Okay, so these 3 aside, I'm gonna get them out of the way. Man, I grabbed a beer out and everything and I forgot to crack it. So what have we got here? Mountain Culture, Cult IPA. I found this one at Dan Murphy's, which is a large alcohol store chain thing in Australia. Oh, and I was asking them, I'm like, what is the best IPA that you guys have at the moment that's worth trying? And he pointed me towards this one. So I believe this is made in New South Wales, Emu Plains. So yeah, if you're not in Australia, you're probably going to find it pretty hard to get your hands on this, if not impossible. But if you are in Australia, go to Dan's and see if you can find one. It is really good. All right, so let's have a look at some of these columnar cacti, and I hope I'm saying that right. I'm still not sure. I'll probably finish filming this video and realize that I've been saying it incorrectly the entire thing. So I'm still sort of yet to really, well, I'm yet to do any grafting, but I'm still yet to kind of learn about the best types of cacti for grafting. And we have 4 different types here. What have we got? We have a Piloserius fulvillinatus that is absolutely beautiful, at least in the image. You'll see how blue the image is there. Who knows if that's what it actually looks like. I feel less bad too about cutting this one up, considering it has this huge scar on the side of it, but I'm going to let them grow out for a while. The next one is Espostoa mirabilis. So that's what that one looks like. I think this might be a common one because quite a lot of the grafts that I have seem to have cacti that look like this. After that, we have a whole bunch of these Polaschia chichips, I'm not sure. And then we have, I think this is from memory, Trichocereus geometrizans, I think. These have a beautiful blue hue on them. They're absolutely stunning. So we've got those four, I think, where did these come from? They would have come from Waurn Ponds with the Rings of Fire. So we have these guys. I'll put them to the side here. Then I went to Leopold this morning. I had to send a parcel of one of the old chocos that I was selling, and went to the Bunnings there, and they had a few of these Polaschia chichipes. So I grabbed 3 of those from there, and each of these were they'll be between $6 and $9 each. Very, very affordable. And the goal will be just to grow these guys out and then chop them up, take the tops off, graft onto them, but keep the tops, and hopefully grow those out to then turn into more grafting stock. So yeah, I've got a whole bunch of these guys now, and in fact, I may even have more here. And so this was the one from Torquay. Torquay had quite a haul. I was kind of surprised. It was a smaller Bunnings. The plant selection there was a great deal less, but I think because they have obviously fewer people who go there, a lot of the cacti and succulents were really, really interesting ones. So we have another Trichocereus geometrizans. I'll check that over here. We have an azure torch. So this is another one of these blue ones. It looks stunning. And azure is, I think, blue in Spanish, right? So where will we chuck that one? There. We have another one of these. Ooh, stabbing myself on a Euphorbia horrida. This is a Pilocereus fulvinatus, so another one of these guys. What else have we got? Another Espostoa mirabilis. So we've got quite a range of different plants here. And then I think this one is the silver torch. So this one is Cactus straussii. So it's pretty crazy the different numbers of genera that we have here. We have another blue torch, azure. So put that there. And that's crazy actually. Wait, so azure torch and blue torch aren't the same, and they're not even the same genera. Interesting. Wow, okay. So they're actually different. Still learning, guys, still learning. And then we have lastly, oof, good God, how do we say this one? Weber Bauer Roserius Johnsoni. Good God, what a mouthful. I'm not sure if you can see the, the writing there. But this is a beautiful gold one. So I had to lash out and grab that one. So yeah, these are gonna be some of the grafting stock that I have. I'll bring them, I guess I'll center them up for you guys. So the idea will be, I'll probably put these outside in probably the east facing sort of side of the land here, and hopefully just grow them out, get them larger and larger and larger. When they get to maybe this height, I might chop half down and then take those halves, plant them down, and then grow them out again. And obviously if you repeat that process, you're going to have a lot of rooting stock really quickly. So that was why I lashed out on these guys. So yeah. All right, I guess I'll put these aside and I'll show you what else I got. Okay, so I got a few other things to compare to the ones that I already have and throw up the spares on eBay again, because these are, I find, heavily sought after, these beautiful euphorbias, and I probably don't need 2 of each, although I could keep them and potentially use them to pollinate one another and keep seeds. So I might think about that, but worst case scenario, I can chuck them up on eBay and, you know, again, just auction them off. So people will pay whatever they think they're worth. But this is a Euphorbia horrida, and these ones can have really beautiful red spines at the top. And this one is Euphorbia ferox, which, as you can see as well, has these beautiful pink spikes at the top. And I got this one because I saw the pup coming off too, and I was like, oh, that'd be interesting to try and propagate, just to rip it off and plant it up. And it kind of looked like a one-armed cactus, right? Someone doing this, like, sort of like a Popeye, one-armed Popeye. So anyway, grab those 2 euphorbias. We got a Labivia Schieliana. This one was stunning, and I haven't seen this for sale before, so I had to grab this one. I'd been looking at Labivia, the genus, quite a bit recently, and was interested in checking this one out. And I love myself a nice dark cactus, and those tight spines that are close to the body that allow you to sort of touch the cacti like this because they curve back towards the body. I find that just really cool. And those beautiful red flowers, absolutely stunning. So there was that, and then more cacti. We got the Brain Cactus, and this is Mammillaria elongata cistata. So I assume cistata is a term that is used when you have something cresting. And cresting is where you have effectively a mutation on these normal cacti here, a mutation of the meristem, I believe, so the tip that's growing, the part that grows, and instead of growing as a sort of column straight upwards, it grows more like a fan, like this. And so it kind of just shoots out like that, this, fan-shaped stuff. And obviously it kind of curls into the shape of a brain. So I was interested to get this one, especially because it has the normal form here and the crested form here. So yeah, really interesting and worth watching how it grows. And you can see what it looks like up here when it gets bigger. Last cactus is Rebutia pulvinosa. Now these are really cool because they pup readily. So you'll end up with these clumps of cacti like this really quickly. And this one looks like it's pretty in need of a repotting. It's busting out. And beautiful yellow flowers. So yeah, another one that I was just like really curious to grow. And I think they kind of end up sort of like in a dome of these pups if you have them in a pot. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's sort of, obviously as they pup out to the sides, the pups are going to be smaller relative to the main part of the plant that's been there longer. And so it ends up in this kind of like hemisphere over the soil. So yeah, again, really interesting, really cute. Interested to see how that one grows out. Two last ones. So we have here Adromiscus, I believe, Adromiscus maculatus. This thing was gorgeous. Look at just the patterning on the sides of this guy. So I just love these kind of like little discs that are the leaves of this plant. It's just stunning. I've got another one that's in the same genus. I'm not sure what the species name is, but yeah, again, just really curious to kind of see how this thing grows. And my mum really found the other plant really striking. So I was like, maybe I grab this and give it to her. So we'll see what happens. But that purple, guys, that's actually a really nice deep purple maroon kind of color on the sides there in the gray. And it's just like, what? Really cool. And last but not least is the Kalanchoe luciae ladyfingers. So I'm not sure who has fingers shaped like this, but again, it was just a really weird Kalanchoe, and I just couldn't help myself. Look at the red tips to it. It almost looks like some kind of a lolly or candy for you Americans. Like it just looks edible, right? Like a gummy or something. So couldn't help myself. And it feels like a really hard ear, right? So yeah, it's really, really stiff ear, but it has the kind of edges like this that you would see around the tip of someone's ear. So that's kind of it. And then I have a little bit left. I have some more show and tell because I ended up going to the hydroponics store and lashing out on a few things there to give you a look. So, well, I'm going to use them, but I thought I would also give you a look. So give me a sec. Okay. All right, so these are a bit big, but I ended up getting these two domes. So I was actually going to the hydroponics store because I wanted to get some more syringes. These guys. So I used these for measuring out. I'll open one up before I start talking because the plastic's pretty strong. I use these for measuring out the different liquids that I use when I'm making my nutrient solution. Geez, butterfingers, as the cap came off. But the one that I've been using for ages, I've started rubbing off all of the measurements here, so I can't really see what's what anymore because all the numbers and the lines are starting to fade. So I thought I would go and grab a few of these extra ones and some of the smaller ones too. Whilst I was grabbing those, I ended up seeing that they had these really nice domes. So these little seedling humidity domes. And I'm really wanting to germinate and grow out some cactus seedlings, but I also do it with anthurium and other plants as well that I'm interested in as they come up. And so I thought I would get two of these and give them a whirl to see how they go. And the interesting thing is the bottom of these guys were really cheap relative to the top. So the clear plastic part was like, I think 25 bucks each. I've got two of them here stacked on top of one another. And the plastic bottoms are like $5. And that was really interesting. Go figure. So this is the kind of cheaper version one. And they have these like little rotating things that you can sort of adjust here to allow in moisture and not. And again, yeah, I should say too, not just seedlings and growing things from seed, but tissue culture. I think this would be great because the problem is that you can go to Bunnings here, but they always have really small ones that are kind of limited and they're kind of a bit squatter. They're sort of lower down. So these are really tall. I think they'll do really well. So I got two of these guys. And then I also got their highest quality one, which you can see the top here isn't as flimsy at all. This is much thicker plastic, and it was, I think the top was about 35 bucks and the bottom may have been 20, something like that. So yeah, this is going to be really interesting, and the little grids here at the top also look better quality. Not sure if you can see them. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys go with tissue culture plants, with plants that I'm growing out of seed, whatever it may be. So yeah, you can always use humidity domes. I might have to also chuck some heat mats under them as I'm doing that, because we are going to go into autumn soon and it's going to start cooling down. So that's really all there is to this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Check this video out next. Oh, I forgot to mention, I will keep you updated with how the Rings of Fire go as well. Anyway, see you next time. Was that fun, Peach? Jeez, you're getting frisky, eh? Always wanted to fight, eh? You have a full belly and you're frisky ass, ain't ya? Jesus. Love you, man.